Do not move! Get down on the floor!
The first gunshot shattered the silence of the luxurious Crystal Crown Hotel in Manhattan, New York. Crystal glasses exploded across the marble floor as terrified guests screamed and dug beneath tables. 6 heavily armed bodyguards suddenly surrounded billionaire Michael Carter, pointing their weapons directly at the man they had sworn to protect only moments before. Their faces carried no hesitation, only betrayal. Michael realized with heartbreaking clarity that the greatest danger had never come from strangers. It had been standing beside him all along. Just as the leader raised his pistol for the final shot, an ordinary waitress named Grace Foster leaped across the polished floor without thinking of her own life. In one fearless moment, she placed herself between death and a man she had met only an hour earlier. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, courage, and second chances can change lives, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone who needs hope today, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support keeps these stories alive. Grace had never imagined that serving dinner would become the most important night of her life. She was 28 years old, working double shifts to care for her younger brother, Nathan, after their parents had passed away years earlier in a tragic highway accident in Ohio. Every dollar she earned paid hospital bills, rent, and groceries. Her dreams of attending college had disappeared long ago, replaced by responsibility and quiet sacrifice. Yet despite everything life had taken from her, she greeted every customer with genuine kindness. Many wealthy guests never noticed her face, but Grace believed every person deserved respect, whether they tipped generously or ignored her completely. Michael Carter was one of America's youngest self-made billionaires. Newspapers admired his business empire, but very few people knew how lonely success had become. Years of corporate battles had convinced him that trust was expensive and loyalty nearly impossible to find. That evening he had arrived at the Crystal Crown Hotel for a confidential meeting involving a multi-billion-dollar technology acquisition. His security team consisted of 6 highly trained bodyguards, who had worked beside him for years. Michael believed they would gladly die protecting him. He had no reason to suspect they had already accepted millions of dollars from a ruthless rival determined to eliminate him forever. Throughout dinner, Grace noticed something unusual. The bodyguards rarely looked at the guests or hotel entrances. Instead, they exchanged nervous glances with one another, repeatedly checking their watches. Years earlier, before becoming a waitress, Grace had trained in self-defense through a community program after surviving a frightening attempted robbery near her neighborhood. She wasn't a professional fighter, but she had learned to recognize danger before it exploded. Something inside her warned that this elegant dining room was about to become a battlefield. Everything happened within seconds. The restaurant lights flickered. One bodyguard quietly locked the main entrance, while another disabled the security cameras. Michael looked around in confusion before the leader suddenly aimed his pistol directly at his chest. Around them, wealthy guests froze in disbelief. The betrayal was so complete that Michael couldn't even process what he was seeing. The men he trusted with his life had become his executioners. Grace's instincts took control before fear could stop her. She grabbed a heavy serving tray and hurled it with astonishing force, striking the nearest gunman across the face. The unexpected attack knocked his weapon away. As confusion spread among the bodyguards, Grace sprinted toward Michael, pushing him behind a marble pillar just as bullets shattered expensive wine bottles behind them. Glass rained through the air while terrified families crawled desperately toward emergency exits. The attackers underestimated Grace because they only saw a waitress wearing a simple black uniform. They never imagined that courage could become stronger than expensive weapons. Using chairs, serving carts, and anything within reach, Grace created precious seconds for innocent people to escape. She wasn't trying to defeat 6 armed men. She was trying to keep everyone alive long enough for help to arrive. Michael watched in disbelief as this ordinary young woman repeatedly risked her own life for complete strangers. Every decision she made placed others before herself. When one frightened child became trapped beneath a fallen table, Grace ignored the bullets flying around her and pulled the little girl safely into cover before returning to protect Michael once again. In that terrifying moment, Michael realized that true courage never comes from wealth or power. It comes from a heart unwilling to abandon others. The leader of the bodyguards became increasingly desperate. Their carefully planned assassination had turned into chaos because one waitress refused to surrender. He ordered the remaining men to eliminate Grace first. She found herself surrounded, exhausted, bruised, and trembling, yet she refused to step aside. Looking into Michael's frightened eyes reminded her of her younger brother waiting at home. She understood that someone else's family was depending on this man surviving tonight. Then Grace remembered something she had noticed while working countless evening shifts. Hidden beneath the manager's station was an emergency security alarm connected directly to the city's police command center. During another distraction, she crawled across the broken marble floor, ignoring cuts on her hands from shattered glass. Every inch felt impossible as bullets struck nearby walls. Finally reaching the hidden button, she pressed it with all the strength she had left. Within minutes, police sirens echoed through the streets outside. The attackers realized their escape had vanished. Several attempted to flee while others surrendered immediately. Specialized officers stormed the building, rescuing guests and arresting every corrupt bodyguard without another innocent life being lost. As paramedics treated Grace's injuries, Michael quietly sat beside her. For the first time in many years, tears filled the billionaire's eyes. He had built skyscrapers, purchased private islands, and negotiated billion-dollar contracts, yet none of those achievements had saved him. A waitress earning minimum wage had done what money never could. She had chosen compassion over fear. The investigation uncovered an enormous conspiracy involving corporate corruption and bribery stretching across several states. Grace's quick thinking prevented not only Michael's murder, but also exposed a criminal organization responsible for numerous financial crimes. News stations across America called her a hero, but Grace insisted she had simply done what anyone should do when another human being needed help. Michael never forgot that answer. Instead of offering only a financial reward, he created the Grace Foster Foundation, providing educational scholarships for hospitality workers and emergency assistance for families facing medical hardships. Grace finally attended college while continuing her passion for helping others. Nathan received the medical treatment he desperately needed, giving both siblings a future they had once believed impossible. Months later, Michael returned to the same hotel, not as a billionaire surrounded by armed security, but as a grateful friend carrying flowers. The marble floor had been repaired, the chandeliers shined brightly once again, and life had returned to normal. Yet everyone who remembered that terrifying night understood something priceless had changed forever. They had witnessed the extraordinary power hidden inside an ordinary heart. If this story touched your heart, please support the channel by liking this video, sharing it with someone you love, and subscribing for more emotional stories that remind us kindness still exists in this world. Before the ending, tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you had been in Grace's place? The world often celebrates wealth, influence, and power, but history is changed by people whose names were once unknown. Grace Foster walked into work expecting another ordinary shift. She walked out having saved dozens of lives, restored one man's faith in humanity, and inspired countless others to choose courage over fear. Her story reminds us that heroes rarely wear expensive suits or carry impressive titles. Sometimes they wear a simple waitress uniform, carry a serving tray, and possess a heart brave enough to stand between evil and someone they have every reason to walk away from. And in the end, that kind of courage becomes richer than any fortune money could ever buy.